Welcome to the Emperor Dynamite podcast, home of unchained free speech. Unleash your voice.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau declaring a public emergency for the first time in the country's history.
Hello, I am Emperor Dynamite while he continues to work on his audio setup. Happy to have you along on this grand adventure as I continue to expand my podcast. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 4, Canada Under Siege. We're at a very significant time right now. As we move towards the federal election, choices made are going to determine the path of our nation for years to come. Do we break free from years of corruption and incompetence? Or do we restore prosperity? Every vote matters more than ever, and the decisions we make are going to steer the direction of our country. Join us as we explore the issues, the candidates, and the stakes of this critical juncture in our political landscape. We'll talk about why we need a conservative majority to help us build a safe and prosperous future, and why the time for change has come in how we govern. Time to restore our prosperity. Time to end an era of liberal scandals. Let's seize the moment. For decades, Canada and the United States have stood as steadfast partners, allies, and friends. Our economies are inextricably linked, with over $600 billion in goods and services exchanged annually. Together, we built iconic cars, powered industries with our shared energy resources, and defended North America as a united front through NATO and NORAD. Yet, in early 2025, that long-standing partnership was shattered when the U.S. imposed a draconian 25% tariff on Canadian imports, invoking dubious national security concerns tied to immigration and drug trafficking as a pretext. This betrayal was nothing short of staggering. After years of loyalty, support through wars, and standing shoulder to shoulder in times of crisis, Canada was treated as an adversary, and our industries faced unwarranted punishment. In a necessary response, Canada was left with no option but to impose $30 billion in retaliatory tariffs on American goods. Unfortunately, the damage had already been done, not just to our economies, but to the very foundation of trust that has characterized our relationship for generations. This was more than a mere trade dispute. It was a knife in the back from a supposed friend. This election is a chance to push back against policies that have alienated provinces, weakened the economy, and allowed foreign interference to undermine democracy. It's also an opportunity to elect leadership that prioritizes Canadian values and interests, rather than relying on external endorsements or validation. This election isn't just about choosing a government. It is about shaping the direction of the nation for generations to come. The decisions made now will determine whether Canada can rebuild its strength, restore trust in leadership, and stand united in the face of global challenges. The significance of this moment cannot be overstated. Remember, Mark Carney was handpicked by none other than Justin Trudeau. We cannot afford another day of liberal waste. Mark Carney's leadership is meant to be a fresh start, but his keeping over 80% of Justin Trudeau's team suggests anything but. By keeping the same core team that propelled Trudeau's policy and direction, Carney signals more of the same, rather than a decisive break from it. This decision raises serious doubts about his ability to deliver the bold changes he promises, as his leadership appears to be built on the same foundation that has left Canadians frustrated and disillusioned over the past decade. Carney's reliance on Trudeau's entourage means that his leadership will duplicate the same governing patterns that have eroded public trust. The same individuals who oversaw policies that led to economic stagnation, political polarization, and compromised sovereignty are being positioned to define Canada's future once again under Carney's leadership. This is not the fresh thinking or innovative leadership Canadians are looking for. It's a repackaging of the same approach that has failed to address the country's most pressing problems. At a time when Canadians are demanding accountability, integrity, and genuine change, Carney's decision to stick with Trudeau's team appears to be a missed opportunity to break with the past. It's not a new direction, a different face, same road. This raises the question, how can Carney claim to present a new direction for Canada when he's reaching back to the same designers of the policies that have rendered the nation so polarized and vulnerable? Canadians require leadership that is not only competent, but also willing to make the tough decisions to regain trust and cohesion. Carney's choices to date suggest he's not the leader to do that. Pierre Poilievre is the clear choice for Canada's next Prime Minister because he offers a bold and decisive vision for the country's future. Under his leadership, Canada can expect an unwavering commitment to economic freedom, lower taxes, and responsible fiscal policies that will empower Canadians rather than suffocate them under the weight of government control. Poilievre understands that high taxes and excessive regulation stifle innovation and discourage job creation. His focus on reducing government spending and cutting taxes will allow Canadian businesses to thrive, creating an environment where hard-working families can prosper. Poilievre's approach to governance stands in stark contrast to the Liberal government's reckless spending and failed policies. While Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has seen Canada's national debt skyrocket, Poilievre is committed to restoring fiscal responsibility. Poilievre will ensure that taxpayer money is used efficiently and that future generations are not burdened with crushing debt. His clear focus on balancing the budget and eliminating wasteful government programs will help restore trust in Canada's financial future. What truly sets Pierre Poilievre apart is his unflinching dedication to the individual rights and freedoms of Canadians. He is a staunch defender of free speech, free markets, and personal liberty, and will stand firm against any attempt to encroach on the rights of Canadians, whether through excessive government control, mandates, or restrictions. His firm stance on inflation and cost of living issues will bring real relief to Canadians who have been suffering under rising prices. By cutting government intervention and unleashing the power of Canadian entrepreneurship, Poilievre will create the conditions for an economic renaissance in this country. One of the most memorable moments that truly captured Pierre Poilievre's authenticity and unshakable confidence occurred during an interaction with a reporter while he was eating an apple. As Poilievre sat outside, calmly munching on the fruit, a reporter attempted to engage him in a confrontational line of questioning. Instead of getting flustered or defensive, Poilievre remained completely composed, responding to the questions with clear, no-nonsense answers. His demeanor was unbothered and relaxed, yet laser-focused on the substance of the conversation. What stood out most was how Poilievre didn't allow the reporter's attempts to throw him off balance to succeed. He answered questions directly and without hesitation, all while casually continuing to eat the apple, showcasing a rare level of calm and confidence. It was a perfect metaphor for his leadership style. Poilievre is not one to be easily distracted, or rattled by the distractions of media or political games. His straightforwardness and ability to remain poised, even in the face of press scrutiny, revealed a leader who is not only unafraid of scrutiny, but ready to face it head-on.
There's not easy street leads to a dead end. Best hard roads lead to the best destinations. We're no longer going to accept that this or that gatekeeping bureaucracy stands in the way of obvious common sense solutions. It is unacceptable that 20,000 doctors can't work in Canada when we have a massive shortage. And when people come to me and say, yeah, but this or that clerk or bureaucracy is not going to be happy, that's life.
Right.
There's going to be a lot of vested interests and bureaucracies that are going to be very unhappy when I'm Prime Minister.
Okay. On the topic, I mean, in terms of your sort of strategy currently, you're obviously taking the populist pathway.
What does that mean?
Well, appealing to people's more emotional levels, I would guess. I mean, certainly you tap very strong ideological language quite frequently.
Like what?
left wing, this and that, right wing. I mean, it's that type of ideological spectrum.
I never really talk about left or right.
Anyways, I don't
really believe in that.
Okay. A lot of people would say that you're simply taking a page out of the Donald Trump book.
Like which people would say that?
Well, I'm sure a great many Canadians, but...
Like who?
I don't know who, but...
Well, you're the one who asked the question, so you must know somebody.
Okay. I'm sure there's some out there, but anyways, the point of this question is, I mean, why should Canadians trust you with their vote, given, not just the sort of ideological inclination in terms of taking the page out of Donald Trump's book, but
what are you
also
talking about? What page? What page? Can you give me a page? Give me the page. You keep saying that.
In terms of turning things quite dramatically, in terms of Trudeau and the left wing and all of this. I mean, you make quite a it's quite a play that you make on it. So I'm
not
just
sure.
wondering.
I don't know what your question is.
Okay, then forget that. Why should Canadians trust you with their vote?
Common sense. Okay. Common sense.
This moment resonated with Canadians because it showed that Poilievre isn't interested in playing political games or giving scripted, calculated answers. His authenticity and clear vision shone through in this interaction, reminding Canadians that, unlike many politicians, he isn't here to put on a show. He's here to work for them. This kind of down-to-earth yet assertive leadership is exactly what Canada needs in these times of economic uncertainty and political disillusionment. Poilievre's ability to stay grounded and focused on what matters most, delivering real solutions for Canadians, was clear for all to see. Under Pierre Poilievre, Canada will be led with integrity, accountability, and a clear vision for prosperity. He will put Canadians back in control of their future, break the stranglehold of bureaucracy, and ensure that Canada's best days are ahead of us. With his leadership, Canada can regain its position as a beacon of opportunity, where hard work is rewarded and freedom is fiercely protected. The NDP and Bloc Québécois have never once proved themselves to be worthy of government. The NDP, for their own reasons, and the Bloc Québécois for theirs. The NDP has now dropped any pretense of being a politically independent party and instead acts as a safety rope for the financially irresponsible and scandal-plagued Trudeau government. Meanwhile, the Bloc actively opposes critical infrastructure, projects that would benefit the country, promoting Quebec's interests ahead of national unity and economic growth. Neither party has demonstrated the leadership, vision, or responsibility to guide Canada. The NDP's consistent defense of the Liberals has turned them into a puppet party, supporting Trudeau's struggling government under the pretense of passing progressive policies. Their so-called supply and confidence agreement has allowed the Liberals to govern as a majority government without suffering public disapproval, allowing Trudeau to run wild with the economy, increase government intrusiveness, and ignore accountability. Instead of confronting corruption and advocating for affordability, the NDP has facilitated the promotion of reckless spending that fuels inflation and adds to Canada's huge national debt. Again and again, the NDP has followed along with Liberal agendas, whether by blocking investigations into the SNC-Lavalin and WE charity scandal, greenlighting ineffective policies, or even supporting the unconstitutional invocation of the emergencies. Act against peaceful demonstrators. This willingness to sacrifice integrity to remain viable indicates that they care more about having Trudeau on board than about actually getting things done for Canadians. Meanwhile, however, the Bloc Québécois presents the same degree of threat to Canada, if only because the Bloc positively disses national progress. The Bloc has always complained against every meaningful cross-Canada energy or building proposal, even such things as Energy East pipelines that would have positively affected many provinces' economies and reduced reliance on foreign petroleum. Their vigorous opposition to projects connecting and strengthening Canada's economy shows their party's true color, a regional protest party with no desire to govern the entire country. Their inability to support industries that create jobs beyond Quebec shows their parochial, self-centered agenda, where partisan posturing comes before national prosperity. Neither the NDP nor the Bloc Québécois can be trusted to lead Canada. The NDP has only acted as an enabler for the Liberal Party, allowing its corruption and incompetence to continue, while the Bloc Québécois is actively working to harm national economic interests. Canadians deserve a government that prioritizes the country's best interests, rather than parties that support a failing government or obstruct policies that would benefit the nation as a whole. Canada's economy has been somewhat of a disaster, to be honest, over the past 10 years. GDP per capita has fallen, which essentially means the economy is increasing but the population is growing faster, so individuals are worse off in general. Immigration is at an all-time high, fantastic for diversity and plugging jobs, yet it has caused housing costs to skyrocket and public services to seem way too strained. Productivity? Let's just say it's been pretty lackluster compared to other countries, and that's a big problem when you're trying to stay competitive. The housing market, fueled by years of cheap lending, is now a ticking time bomb ready to explode as debt levels have reached astronomical heights. And the energy sector, Canada's pride and joy for so many years, has been unable to catch a break. With clean energy on the rise and oil prices all over the map, it's lost some of its competitive advantage. To top it all off, business scaling and innovation investment have been comparatively uninspiring, making it increasingly hard for Canada to keep up with the evolving global economy. If things do not take a turn for the better soon enough, Canada could very well be the economy that individuals talk about with a shrug, rather than in awe. Brutal but true. Canada stands at a crossroads, facing challenges that test the very fabric of our nation. But we are not a country that backs down. From the shores of Prince Edward Island to the towering Rockies, we have always risen to defend what is ours, our democracy, our sovereignty, and our future. Foreign powers may try to exploit our systems, infiltrate our politics, and sow division among us, but they underestimate the strength of a united Canada. We are a nation built on resilience, forged by the determination of generations who refused to let adversity define them. Now, it's our turn. We must demand accountability from our leaders, protect our democratic institutions, and stand firm against those who seek to undermine our values. We must invest in innovation, strengthen our economy, and ensure that every Canadian, no matter where they come from, has a stake in our shared success. This is not just about defending Canada. It's about building a stronger, more united nation for the generations to come. The time to act is now. Together, we can ensure that Canada remains a beacon of hope, strength, and freedom. Let's rise to the challenge and show the world what it means to be Canadian. Thanks for tuning in and spending your time with us today. It means the world. We're constantly striving to make this podcast better, and we're excited to share that we're working on fresh formats and content to bring you even more engaging episodes. Stay connected and keep an eye out for what's next. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more.